Dr. Jerry, you got the whole world waiting. Been ready for you to start the conversation. Your point of view, it got the haters confused. Leave it up to you to bring us all the good news. Positive vibes and the sex appeal too. Dr. Andre Jerry, can I get an interview?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Live with Dr. Andre Jerry, the internationally broadcast radio show that keeps you engaged and informed on business and entertainment. I'm your guest host, Freddy Valoy, and I'm excited to be here with you tonight. Dr. Jerry is traveling on business this week, and he has entrusted me with his very last show of the year. So let's make it a good one. I was actually a guest this time last year on Dr. Andre Jerry's show. And it was an interesting time for me. It was an interesting time. If you don't know, just a little bit about myself. I'm Freddy Valoy. I'm a comedian out of New York City. I just moved back to New York earlier this year. And when I was on the show last, it was for this Wednesday show. And my girlfriend of 10 years had just broken up with me. And I was on my way to move to New York at the end of January. And all that has happened. There's been a year of growth. There's been taking some lumps early on in the dating world. But, you know, like we do, we adapt, we overcome, we get better. So if anybody's listening to this, go ahead and send this link over to anybody that's going through a breakup, and just let them know that time does heal all things. Now, that's probably the least fun answer that anybody could give, right? Time heals all things, because we don't want time. We want the magic bullet. We want the pain to go away right away, right? We want the pain to go away right away. We don't want time to heal this part, you know, when it comes to heartbreak. But it's there for a reason, and you know, we should be able to learn from any type of situation that we get ourselves in. So it's been a year now. I'm in New York City. I would say that my heart is healed. The relationship ended on good terms. We did the best we could, but it was just time to move on. And we still have a good relationship, which is good. So that's me catching you up. This year in New York City has been it's been eventful. It has been eventful, and I will say that this is my first Christmas in New York City. First Christmas in New York City in a very long time. So I want to ask you, listener, how's your Christmas going, huh? How's it going over there? Are you having yourself a merry little Christmas? Listen, I can't sing, but I'm going to do it anyway, because that's what we do, right? Just because you can't sing doesn't mean you shouldn't. Maybe not publicly in a live show, right? Maybe that's the thing. That's the kicker, right? Not publicly on a live show. I should be singing by myself, like into a pillow or something like that. If you can't tell, this is going to be a very different episode from Dr. Andre Jerry's. Like I said, I'm a comedian, so we're going to be getting silly here. So this is that time of the year where it's international waters, y'all. This is international waters. Do you have one of those jobs where it's okay to take the gas off at the end of the year? Or do you have one of those jobs where you got to go pedal to the metal? Which one are you? Huh? What are you doing in between Christmas and New Year's? So that time frame, a lot can happen there. That's where a lot of like last minute growth can happen. Are you ready to gear up to go to the gym in January? Get up on those fitness goals? Hopefully not fail a 60 year in a row. Come on. You don't want to do that. Shake it up. This is what you got to do. All right, I'm going to give you some advice. Unsolicited advice. Ready? If you're thinking of starting your fitness goals in the new year, just go ahead and start it this week. This is the best week to do it. The gyms are a lot emptier than they're going to be, right? Here's the little added bonus is that when you start this week, next week rolls around, you get to feel superior to the people that waited for the next year. You get to go, wow, what happened to this gym? All these people, all these New Year's resolution people. So you get to have the one up on people. So if you are a petty person, that could work for you, right? It could work. Sometimes I give my unsolicited advice is good advice, or it could be advice to make you a worse person, because some people don't want to be good people. Some people want to be bad people. And I wouldn't say you're bad, but if you're an egotistical person and you want to feel a little bit better than anybody, start your goal a week early. Trust me. You'll feel superior. You get to walk with your chest even higher in the gym. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. That's my favorite Christmas song. that's my favorite Christmas. I would say compared to the build up to Christmas, the right after, I sort of got the day after Christmas is done. It's almost like we forget about it, which is weird. I feel a little weird still talking about Christmas, but I like that. I think is it Bing Crosby? Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. It is it's a very reflective song. It's an interesting song for me because the way I look at that song, it's like a sad song and a happy song at the same time. It's one of those songs where it's playing, you're in your study. You don't even need to actually physically have a study, but you're in your study in your mind, right? You're swirling around a glass of whiskey. If you're a recovering alcoholic, maybe just a glass of seltzer water with a little bit of lime squeezed in there, right? You're swirling your glass around and you're just watching the drink swirl and you're just thinking back at your year. Maybe you give a little laugh, like, because you remembered something good, but then immediately you make you wince a little and you go, oof, that was rough. I shouldn't have said that to that girl. Right? You reflect on the good and the bad. It's a very balanced, reflective type of song. What's your favorite Christmas song and why? I like to ask a lot of questions. But by myself, just have you guys answer them in your heads. We're communicating telepathically at this point. What is your history with Christmas, huh? What's your relationship with Christmas? If you don't know, I run a podcast called Fred Talk. You can look for it anywhere, Spotify, Apple. And it's pretty much this. It's me talking, asking questions. So if you're interested in this, feel free to follow me. It's Fred Talk, all one word. Yes, I got it. It was a play on word on TED Talk. It's like a TED Talk, but cooler. That's how I look at it. It's funnier, much funnier than most TED Talks. A lot of TED Talks not funny, okay? So if you're looking for more laughs in your life, you're looking to smile a little bit, follow me on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. So what is your favorite Christmas song? Is your relationship with Christmas? Huh? Some people have bad upbringings, maybe don't like Christmas. Some people have grown up with great Christmases their whole lives, and they can't understand how other people would have bad Christmases. But what is yours? Me, recently, I have fully become a Christmas person. My ex that I was with for 10 years, she really worked to make me really appreciate Christmas. And this winter, in my first winter in New York City, I was able to experience Christmas in full go. The Ron McCormick Show, which played earlier on, big shout out to them. Ron was giving, saying really good words about New York, which I love because you don't hear that a lot. A lot of people think New York City is Mad Max, and it's quite the opposite, I'll tell you. But Ron's passion about the Knicks, especially him calling it the Knickerbockers, really, I thought that was awesome. It warmed my heart, so it was a great lead-in to hear. So what is your relationship with Christmas? Huh? Mine, I'm full go now. I've had some interesting time in Christmas here in New York City. I did a 1920s holiday train. It ran on like the New York City subway platform and all that on the F line. It was so cool. The design was awesome. It was a green train. You walk in, wicker seats, with spring-loaded wicker seats, ceiling fans, white handles. If you've been on the subway, you know that right now it's plastic and metal. It's not if you go side by side the aesthetic from the 1920s to these modern train cars, it is like leaps and bounds. You know, the 1920s cars were pimping, and these new trains are just all business. So anyway, we get to these holiday train, and I don't know why, but I think it's a thing. Autistic people really enjoy trains. And we don't do callers, but I got to look up why. But there seems to be a correlation of like autistic people loving trains, and I got to see that on full display on this holiday train. So the energy was pure. It was awesome. If you're ever looking to do Christmas in New York City, I highly recommend it, and put this on your calendar. Nostalgia train. It runs every Saturday in December, and it is awesome. And you will likely get a free tour of the train, or at least like random facts from some of the riders. We talked to a guy, I call him Ralph. I just want to keep his name, keep it anonymous. Talked to a guy named Ralph, built like a Ralph, right? Kind of short, stocky, has a belly. he had on some navy pants, a brown cardigan, and a conductor's hat. And he was passionately talking about the trains. Passionately. Hey, this is the R188. These are in service of 50 years. Then they retire them. Did you know that after they retire New York City trains, one of the things they do with them is that they dip them, they put them into the ocean so they can coral, so they can grow coral on them, which I think is pretty cool. And I learned that from Ralph. And Ralph was really passionate. And I'm thinking, wow, the MTA was, they went all out for this. The MTA is the Metropolitan Transit Authority. They run the trains in New York City. I'm like, wow, they got a guy giving facts, almost like a tour guide on this train. This is amazing. Then there were some things that made me go, maybe he's just autistic and just loves talking about trains. Then I saw a model train that he had, and we started to get a little bit closer. But this guy's going off on his presentation. This is the R188. One train cart costs $1 million. 1000. This guy had a heavy Brooklyn accent too. Real character. They don't make New Yorkers like this anymore. A guy with the heavy accent and all that, they don't make him like that anymore. So this guy was fascinating. His passion. I mean, you ever sit in front of someone when they're passionately talking about something? It's amazing. You can feel it. You can feel that energy. You can feel that charisma. And we got to experience that with Ralph. The best part was when a child came up. This kid had to be about 8 years old. And Ralph's going off about the R188 trains or whatever, giving his facts. And this little kid walks up and goes, "I was an R188 for Halloween." And Ralph's reaction, instead of being like, "Oh, that's really cool, kid. Good for you, buddy." He goes, Hey, slow down, kid. Right? So, this is like a 30-year-old man talking to a child like that. So I am dying laughing. Me and the girl I'm with are trying to like acknowledge the kid so he doesn't so he doesn't turn into a supervillain with this interaction. And my girl's like, "Oh wow, like how'd you make it?" Blah blah blah. Ralph gets back into his presentation, and that same thing happens about 3 or 4 more times, where the kid like interrupts Ralph, and Ralph just does not let him speak. At one point, he goes, "Hey, slow down, Junior. Slow down, Junior." I am literally, I'm crying laughing at this. I'm like, because I guess certain people on the spectrum don't have social cues, so he didn't know he should be talking to the kid like that. It was funny. He was funny about it. Finally, there's a break in the conversation, and I go, "Hey, man, do you work for the MTA?" He looks at me. He looks at his buddy. So I'm at his 2 o'clock. His buddy's at his 12 o'clock. He looks at me, looks at his buddy at 12 o'clock, and points to me at 2 o'clock and goes, "This guy doesn't get it, huh?" Then he looks back at me and goes, "You think the MTA knows what I know? Do you?" I offended him, and I was rightfully put in my place. I had never felt so good to be put in my place. It was great. I was literally crying from laughter. It was a magical time on this train. It was pure energy. It was great. So if you're ever in New York, you plan on a trip to New York City, nostalgia train. That's definitely on the list of things you got to do. Of course, with the tree and all the touristy stuff. Don't get lost in the sauce either. It's okay to do touristy stuff. Some people think they're too cool to see touristy things, but there is a reason that these things have become popular. So don't let your pride get in the way of some really cool, like, human ingenuity. All right? Let's not do that. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. What is I feel like it's getting better. What is your favorite Christmas song? Why? Think about that. Reflect. This is the best week of the year to do a little bit of reflection. I was on another subway story. I was on the subway, and there was a Jehovah's Witness, not a Jehovah's Witness. Oh gosh, Latter-day Saint, Mormon, Latter-day Saint. That's what it was. The Latter-day Saint on the train. It was a Monday around 5:30, and they were out there proselytizing, trying to get people to go to their church. Which, hey, listen. 5:30 on a Monday, 5:30 p.m. I would say arguably the best time to get someone to switch religions. So Monday, you just finished the first day of the week of the job you probably hate. You're catching people at a weak moment there. So whoever figured that out for the Church of Latter-day Saints, good on y'all, man. Good on y'all. you guys are strategizing out there, right? So they're going around, excuse me, sir. Would you like to go to church with me for this Sunday? That's what they would ask. And one of the guys was a really like hip dude, really hip guy, white dude with some really like trendy glasses. He looked really hip, super cool. He was like a mix of Justin Timberlake and Jack Harlow. If you don't know the reference, it's just two cool white guys from different time periods put together, curly blonde hair, really smooth guy. I'm like, wow, this guy must get a lot of people going to their church. So he's walking around the train. He's like, excuse me, sir. He's like, excuse me, sir, would you like to go to church with me on Sunday? And everybody said no. Everybody said no because that's life, y'all. That is life. You go around trying to get people to your church, and they're going to tell you no. But then he got to me. He goes, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Would you like to go to church with me this Sunday? And I turned to him. This is a true story, yo. Get bored out there in these streets. You know? Turn to him after he says, excuse me, sir, would you like to go to church on Sunday? I turn to him and go, excuse me, do y'all have hoes? He's like, what? He was taken aback. Like, I said, sir, does the Church of Latter-day Saints, do y'all have hoes? He takes a long pause, kind of scrunches up his face like he's thinking. He goes, I think we have something for you, man. I think we got a little something like Oh, man. Elder Moss was his name. That was on his name tag. Before he left, I go, hey, Elder Moss, Elder. I know that's not your first name. What does Elder mean? It seems like a position in the church. And he was like, oh, it means we're missionaries. And I was like, oh, that's great. What do you call the doggy styles in your church? Boom. Oh, wow. Look at that. Making stupid little jokes here, guys. Having fun. He did, I think he took my invite from the church. He was disappointed at the joke. He was like, okay. All right, buddy, I see what you're doing. So there are some characters out here in New York City. Great neighborhoods. I was walking through Chinatown one time. Everybody knows China. Almost every place kind of has a Chinatown, especially big cities. And I was talking to this girl on the phone. This is like dating stuff. Is anybody else an overshare? Does anybody else overshare? I suck at being mysterious with the ladies. I've gotten that as feedback, but you just got to find women that don't care about mystery. Mystery is fake. Mystery is fake news. It's not a thing. Maybe I'm just hating. Maybe all right, guys. I'm jealous of mysterious guys because I literally can't keep my mouth shut. This girl goes, hey, what are you doing? And I go, oh, I'm walking through Chinatown. And she goes, oh, have you ever gotten a massage from in that neighborhood, right? Chinatown, massage. I'm thinking, Layla, all right, I'm just going to be straight up and tell her. I go, hey, listen, I've thought about getting a happy ending a bunch of times in my life, so many times, but I just can't get over a couple of humps. The main hump is I don't want to be getting a happy ending, and then I'm going to be thinking, wow, 2 weeks earlier, this lady was probably in a shipping container, right? Because you find out later in life that a lot of these sex workers, they've been kidnapped. There's sex trafficking going on, and that doesn't quite do it for me, right? Right? Sex trafficking does not give me a boner. I'm sorry. I'm just not that kind of guy, so I can't get over that hump. But let's just say that I could get over that hump. And by the way, this is just my thoughts. If you go out and get happy endings, dude, you go ahead and do it, bro. This is America. This is the land of opportunity and happy endings if you want them. From sea to sea, baby. All right? So this is no judgment. I'm just riffing here, guys, and I'm just telling you what I think. But we can all have different opinions on things. I respect you. If you go get a happy ending right after this show, I respect that. Do you? Let's say I can get over the sex trafficking hump, and I'm like, all right, I can, have her do this thing. Another thing that I can't get over is I like to kiss before I have sex. It's just something I do. It's part of the whole foreplay thing. If I tell her all of this that I just told you, her response was, oh, yeah, I was talking about just a normal like back rub or a regular massage. Jump the gun on that one, y'all. Jump the gun. Gotta be more mysterious. She's still talking to me though, so at least we know that she is super cool. At least we know that she's super cool. So I say this to say I've been in New York for a year. I know the news has been, portraying us like this is like, some post-apocalyptic whatever. I would say don't let the news brainwash you from a good time, right? Don't be that person. Don't let the news brainwash you from a good time. New York's good to go. The most you'll see is some homeless people and some crazies. But as far as like outright crime, I personally haven't seen that. But we also have to take into effect, I'm 6 feet, 220 pounds. No, I don't look like a guy. I give off undercover cop vibes. So maybe my perspective of the city is a little bit different than, like a woman or maybe a guy that's under 200 pounds or under 150 or an untrained, person. It could be different. You don't know. But I would say that New York passes the vibe check. If you've been like thinking about doing it, but you're like, the news says it's dangerous, come out here. I'm also not liable for anything that happens. Also, any opinions expressed during this episode of Live with Dr. Andre Jerry are not the opinions of Dr. Andre Jerry or the Z-Man, our engineer, right? These are all just me. This is me right here. This is the takeover. The takeover. All right, we got the singing. We'll be done with the singing in a second, yo. All right? Be done with the singing in a second. Anybody? I don't know what the listener demographic is, but do you guys know what the ick is? You guys know what the ick is? The ick is something started by, I don't know, Gen Z or something. But it's something that I think it transcends generations. This is when women need to get over themselves. No. The ick is actually, it's a thing where a guy can do something very small. It's not even a red flag. A guy does something very small that turns the woman off, where they go, wow, I no longer want to have sex with the guy. Right? So this could be the ones I've heard where a man was trying to switch lanes and they wouldn't let him in. So the girl got the ick. Watching a guy get knocked out, that's kind of like, you can see that. The ick. What else? I would say the best example is switching lanes, right? Because then I guess subconsciously the girl's like, wow, this guy, strangers don't even respect this guy. Why should I respect him? So that is the ick. I was thinking, wow, if I was a girl, what would give me the ick? And here's what would give me the ick. If I was a girl and a guy took me out on a date and we went to the ice cream shop, we went to the ice cream shop, and he wanted to taste test ice cream at all. I don't want 1, 2, 3. No. If you're a guy that taste tests ice cream and I'm a girl, there's no chance you're getting these pants, buddy. I'm sorry. I need my men to be decisive about their ice cream choices, right? I don't care what you choose. Just when you walk in, you go, I already know what I want. What do you want? And I'm going to go, ooh. I like a man that knows what he wants. So if I was a girl, that would give me the ick. Indecisive about ice cream. You trying to get in this? Huh? Hell no. Here's another thing. Before we're about to get into a commercial break here in a few minutes. Another thing that bugs me that I'm sure, I think most people would agree with me on this. What mental illness? Which mental illness is the one where people keep their keyboard sound on as they're texting in a public setting? I hung out with a couple friends and they'll be texting and you just hear that. You can hear that keyboard. You can turn that off in settings. Don't do that. If you're going to leave anything in 2003, let's leave the keyboard sounds off, right? Don't bring that into 2024. Nobody wants to hear you texting your girlfriend as she questions you about, whose panties are these that I found in the car, right? Nobody wants to hear you lie to your girlfriend about how you didn't cheat on her, even though maybe you did. Maybe you did. You got a little too drunk at the holiday party, and maybe you didn't physically cheat on her, but you emotionally cheated, and you told some girl at your office information about your marriage that you probably shouldn't have. Huh? Nobody wants to hear that through text. Clack, 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 clack. right? Girlfriend's like, hey, why'd you tell her you were single? And you're like, I thought she was asking about my tax status. All right. We're not married. I filed for taxes and I'm single. I thought that's what she said. Nobody wants to hear that lie. Text message, clack, 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 clack. Right? Nobody wants to hear you texting your drug dealer. Right? You ordered weed that was supposed to be there at 2 p.m. Or whatever, and now it's 11 o'clock at night and you still don't have your drugs, and nobody wants to hear that. So leave that in 2023. No more keyboard sounds on. We're checking things off, y'all. We're checking things off. No keyboard sounds on. If I'm ever president, I'm not deporting Mexicans. I'm not deporting anything. You don't even gotta live here. No, you don't have to be born here to stay. What do you provide and what do you do for the country? That's how I would be president. So people that leave their keyboard sounds on, y'all are going into internment camps. Yes. So they keep their. Oh, here's another one. People that park their cars on the white line in parking lots and see it and don't fix it. Immediate deportation, no trial. That's the kind of presidency that I would have. Those are the kind of people I'm trying to deport. You come here from somewhere else and you're hard working, you don't, you have etiquette when you're out there. It's going to be an etiquette-based system. It is going to be an etiquette-based system. Vote for me, 2050, Freddy Valoy. When my comedy career fails and I run for president. So we are going to move on. Don't go anywhere, folks. Oh, Dr. Andre gave me a script, and I'm really like reading from the script. Obviously, for the riff I just did, that was just off the top, y'all. All right. But this transition, hold on, ready? Don't go anywhere, folks. We're just heating up. I would say that we're already cooking at this point. That's the only thing I would change. We were already cooking. We're on fire. Coming up after the break, we dive deeper into our discussion and talk more about blank. I should fill in that blank. Actually, when we get back, I have some headlines, right? A little bit of riff for a little bit. And now I got some headlines that we're going to read. I'm going to read, and we'll talk about that. So stay tuned, because you won't want to miss what's next. But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Love commercials.
Waves of sadness from out of nowhere. Instantly, you feel a weight of despair, a subtle heaviness that leaves you drained, and a lingering loneliness that remains. Suddenly, there is no reason to smile, and then you become angry for a while, lashing out at anyone near, especially the ones you hold dear. Imprisoned by your own emotions, unsettled by the lack of control. Trying to make sense of it all, meanwhile, it takes its toll. Distancing yourself from family, pushing your friends away, knowing in your heart that maybe you'll need their support one day. As your despondency becomes palpable and more real, you find it difficult to express how you feel. So you become quiet and do your best to disguise it, but there is no denying it. There is something wrong, because nothing you do feels right. The sadness is overwhelming, but you're too angry to cry. Deep into the pit of self-pity you're hurled, where you realize you're not depressed, you're mad at the world. This poem, written by Dr. Andre Jerry, is entitled Mad at the World, from his literary debut, Write or Die, Expressions of Life, Love, and Loss, Volume 1. Available exclusively on Amazon and Kindle. Write or Die is more than just a collection of poetry. It's a lifestyle, a call to action to its readers to consider expressive writing, such as poetry, as a catalyst for healing, growth, and change. Write or Die assists the reader in a way that's relative to them and helps to identify their own emotions. Each expression is poetically written in an elegant style that's helpful to the reader, for each expressed title motivates in a personal way, providing pure insight and introspection. Having triumphed over his own trauma and adversity, Dr. Andre Jerry has proven how powerful expressive writing can be to the healing process. If you're feeling stuck in an emotional state that's keeping you from achieving your highest potential, consider expressive writing as a tool to help identify and release negative thoughts. Purchase your copy of Write or Die, Expressions of Life, Love, and Loss, Volume 1 by Dr. Andre Jerry, available exclusively on Amazon and Kindle.
You're back live with Dr. Andre Jerry.
Welcome back to the live with Dr. Andre Jerry radio show. My name is Freddy Valoy, your guest host for today. We're going to continue our conversation about blank. Remember, y'all, I'm reading from this script. So this blank, we're going to switch gears. I told you some stories about, some experiences in New York City, Christmas time in New York City, and we're going to change gears now. And we're going to change gears now and go to some headlines that I found on the internet, very vague. And we're going to read through some of these, y'all. So buckle in. First one that I found that was weird. It was a study. Sniffing women's tears reduces male aggression by 44%. Study finds. I mean, this is just, fellas, if you're looking for a way to reduce male aggression, I would say stay away from trying to smell women's tears unless you got consent. But this is a big one for the creep bucket right here. This is creepy. Sniffing women's teeth. I'm just picturing like some dude at the gym going on road rage, and his boy's like, "Hold on, dude, hold on." He opens up like a vial of his girlfriend's tears. He's just like, like literally like the Hulk. Is that all the Hulk needed? Calm down. He just needed to sniff Betty Ross's tears. Sniffing women's tears reduces male aggression. It makes sense, though, because I do. Is it the tears? Is it the smell of the tears? Because I think just a woman in general crying does something to a man. Like it makes you go, "Oh shit, what is happening?" Like for most men, if you're not crazy, it breaks you down a little bit. It makes you stop and go, "What is happening?" It is the full stop. It is the full stop. That's why some women use it as manipulation, and they'll cry, not be held accountable for something, which is great. Imagine a guy doing that, a grown man doing that. That would be so funny. We would make fun of him, as we should. We should jump him. If a guy's crying because he's been logically cornered in an argument, that would just be ridiculous. A lot of people don't like the double standard, but I do. You pro double standard between men and women? Some people are like, "Oh, dude, well, they get to do this." It's like, yeah, but then there's also things that we get to do. It is way better to be a dude. I'm sorry. It is like we don't get periods. We ain't got to get pregnant. It is so much easier being a dude, and I love that. I don't have anything to prove as a guy. Yes, we do as a man, but me personally, like, I'll be around women sometimes and they'll try to bait me into an argument of like, women are so much smarter than men. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I don't care. I don't care if you're smarter. I don't care if you're smarter. That would be funny to see a guy just crying, just having a temper tantrum, trying to have an adult conversation. And I'm obviously not all women are like that, but it is a tool that you guys have. Women evolutionarily are just better at manipulation than guys are. Guys are just, they're right for the taking, especially today, dude. Don't try to compete with a woman on the mental games, dog. They play the long game, dog. Obviously, these are unhealed people. Most people are unhealed, so we're generalizing here. But yeah, don't get into a mind game with the lady. They've had years of evolution. We're just now starting to get better. Dudes are just starting to go to therapy now. And if you're not going to therapy, I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. It makes you Superman, dude. If you're into personal development, if you're into getting better as a person, I highly recommend therapy. Especially if you're single, because going to therapy will get you it'll get you in bed with some ladies. Or with a lot of people, whatever you're into, right? Whatever you're into, there's people out there that like therapy is a turn on, especially depending on what pockets of people you hang out with. But let's just say you don't even want to tell the world that you're doing therapy. Just the benefits from it, you'll be able to control your emotions, not get triggered, not get emotionally hijacked by things. It is great. 10 out of 10 recommend therapy. Also, you might get a little buzzy from it. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Come on. By the same token now. All right, ladies, by the same token, when a man tells you, because there's a lot of women right now that love, like when they hear about a guy goes to therapy, they love that. I told a girlfriend that this guy goes to therapy, and she like almost fell to the ground. She's like, "Oh my God, that's so hot." And I'm like, "Get up, you dummy. Like, you didn't even ask any follow-up questions." Right? So ladies, when a guy tells you, if you're into that, a guy tells you he's going to therapy, make sure you just follow up with some questions, right? When was the last time you went? How often does he go? Ask him to send you a copy of an invoice or something, or a screenshot of the telehealth medicine, because you can do therapy like on your phone now, and it works. So just ask some follow-up questions, because these F-boys, these fuck-boys are evolving, y'all. I'm gonna say F-boy. I'm trying to keep the cursing to a minimum unless you have to, but the F-boys are they're evolving out here. The men still lie, and there's just liars. And men, women lie too, right? Some people tell you they're pregnant when they're not, just so they can get extra $400, right? It's a cold world out there, y'all. Keep your head on a swivel, okay? Keep your head on a swivel. The ladies, make sure to ask some follow-up questions on therapy. So, sniffing women's tears can reduce male aggression, or just go to therapy. Less weird. If you have a tear plug, if you have a tear dealer, if you got somebody selling tears on the black market, let me know, because I would like to test this out for myself. I'm always down for like little relaxing things. I look at this as maybe like an essential oil type thing, right? You carry it in a vial, you open it up. People believe in essential oils, and some people are like, "Oh, it's bullshit," but like it's placebo. But placebo like works. I think it was like a 78%. Don't fact check me on it. Actually, do fact check me on these numbers, but it was a pretty high number on how effective placebo effect is. And people bring that up as if it's bad. I'm like, yo, if it works, it works. It just goes to show you how the mind is a powerful thing. So make sure you protect that, you know? Protect that mind of yours. Okay, moving on to the next headline. An unaccompanied 6-year-old child put on the wrong Spirit Airlines flight. Okay. All right. I get that kids have it easy nowadays. I get that they don't have much adversity to overcome because of modernization and things like that. But this is an interesting exercise. Putting your kid, an unaccompanied minor, because they do that. I used to do that when I used to take trips to the Dominican Republic. My mom would drop us off at the airport, and like one of the flight attendants would make sure that we get to like the next person down in the Dominican Republic. An unaccompanied minor, but they are accompanied by the airline. So Spirit Airlines, come on, y'all. So, I vote we call CPS on this family. Who the hell puts their kid unaccompanied on a Spirit Airlines flight? I don't think this is on Spirit Airlines. They lost the kid, an unaccompanied 6-year-old child, put on wrong Spirit Airlines flight. Yeah. No, you don't. How do you trust Spirit Airlines with your kids? I vote we take the kids away. Let's read this. According to CNN, an unaccompanied 6-year-old child flying on Spirit Airlines to visit his grandmother in Fort Myers, Florida, was instead put on a flight to Orlando. The child was under the care and supervision of a Spirit team member, and as soon as we discovered the error, we took immediate steps to communicate with the family and reconnect them. Bro, that is crazy. After the plane was initially supposed to be landed on your grandson, it wasn't on it. Holy shit. That is crazy. How is Spirit Airlines still going? Is it really that? Are people I guess people need affordable flights, That's one thing Europe has figured out, man. They got that Ryanair, which I guess is the Spirit of Europe. Maybe it sounds like it's a little better, but the flights are cheap. Even here, train tickets are expensive. Train tickets are about as much as plane tickets. Everything's just getting higher, but Biden inflation that's another episode that we might do. If That might be another episode. Unaccompanied 6-year-old. Let's call CPS. Let's move on to the next story. All right, here's a little, I got this from Psychology Facts on Instagram. Kissing for 1 minute burns 26 calories. That's a lot of calories. What kind of kissing are you doing in 1 minute? Is this like aggressive, like young people kissing? Like, oh, and you're making noises like that? Kissing for 1 minute burns 26 calories. I wonder how many calories twerking burns. That has to, gyrating your hips like that and throwing that thing around, as they say, that has to burn a few calories. It really does. That has to. Kissing for 1 minute burns 26 calories. That's crazy. That means you could burn I'm getting into quick math, and I was going to disassociate. But I feel like if you kiss for an hour, then that seems like a good amount of calories, let alone any of the other stuff you can do, right? All right, moving on. You got it here. Couples goals, ? Cameron Diaz says separate bedrooms should be normalized in relationships. Okay. I agree with Cameron. But I didn't initially, okay? I agree with this because when I first heard of this, you would have told me this 8 years ago, like 5 years ago. You sleep in separate bedrooms. I'm thinking these people don't love each other. They're already reneging on their vows. These people, this was a business proposition for them. There's no love in this marriage anymore. That's what I would think. But a lot of, I spoke to a friend and she was getting bad sleep, sleeping with her partner in the same room. So they started sleeping in separate rooms. Her snoring was keeping him up. She couldn't sleep. She was having terrible sleep for days on end, weeks on end. And when you have terrible sleep for that long, that many days in a row, you become a different person. You become a different person. Sleep is so freaking important. You want to get your 6 to 8 hours in, right? If your sleep is off, that's like having a sniper rifle and the scope's off. It's like your shot's gonna be, no matter how you gotta adjust for shitty sleep and do different things. So now I'm on board. I'm like Cameron Diaz. I'm with you. Separate bedrooms should be normalized. I'd rather my partner get good sleep so they still love me later on. They don't turn into a different person. What do you think, listener? Would you sleep in a separate bedroom? When was the last time you got kicked out and had to sleep on the couch because you said something you shouldn't have said with your wife or with your girlfriend? Huh? Let's reflect back on that one. Let's reflect back on that one. So I agree with you, Cameron Diaz. She came out of hiding to let us know that. It's good to see you're still alive. She kind of looks the same, too. Good for her. Moving on. All right. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you to listen to this next headline and not respond like a child. But I bet you can't. This one's a classic. You ready? The James Webb Telescope captures new images of Uranus. Come on. The James Webb Telescope captures new images of Uranus. How's it looking these days, y'all? Some of us try to be slick, too. I'll pronounce it Uranus to sound like classy, but also not to say Uranus. But I saw this and I had to include it in because I'm a silly man-child, y'all. Hey, listen, Uranus is looking good over here. I'm looking at the pictures. I know this is a radio, but just take my word for it, y'all. Uranus is looking nice. This thing is high def. There's other things around Uranus. There's other little sparkles and other galaxies right around. Not a galaxy. I think there is a galaxy. Yeah. I'm seeing a whole other galaxy not too far from Uranus. This is crazy. So look, we cover a little bit of space in this episode too. We covered relationships, New York City, sniffing tears. Now we're covering Uranus, y'all. Look at that. Look at all the stars, all the glitz and the glam around that yam. Ah, man. All right. Let's see. How's Uranus doing, y'all? Boom. All right, moving on. Research says, we're getting into some relationship stuff here. research says that over 50% of women have a backup partner in mind. I mean, this is kind of a given, right? There's always somebody out there trying to take your girl. You know? So there's always, even if she doesn't consciously have a backup, subconsciously she does, because once again, talking about the evolution of women, they have been have evolved to move on, because for a long time throughout history, a lot of men died in wars. A lot of men died in war. So as to keep the DNA, to keep the information, genetic information moving on, women had to find ways to cope, to like find another husband to take care. This is like for most of history because of war. So I would say this research of 50% is probably even more, if I had to guess, with that backup partner in mind, because you gotta survive. You gotta survive. You ever look at like the woman you're with, or the girl you're with, or somebody you want to be with, and think, oh, I want to start a family with. I mean, it's almost like for breeding purpose. You're like, I like the way she I like the way she takes groceries in on one trip. That's who I want to start a family with. That's the kind of woman I want. A woman that in a pinch she can bring in groceries on her own. I saw a video on Instagram. This lady brought in her own her groceries to where she had to use her head to close the trunk, and she did it successfully. Didn't get her hair caught in the trunk or anything like that. And I saw that, and I was like, that lady's not going to be single for long. That's someone you want. That's someone you want to start a family with. All right. That's someone you want to start a family with. Let's see. Let's do some more headlines here, y'all. How y'all doing? Are y'all still with me? Some people like a solo thing, and others are like, what is going on? And I totally understand it. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. What's up? This is the last week. We're in between Christmas and New Year's. This is international waters, y'all. International waters. So I'm going to go through some advice. We're going to end here with some advice from a relationship account on Instagram called Tinder Platinum. It says never ever bore her. So if you're a guy listening to this, maybe you'll get some advice. And if you're a woman listening to this, I would like to, I guess I can't know because we don't do callers, but keep it to yourself and be like, oh, this actually would work, this would not. Now, please know that I'm going blind into this post. I haven't read through this. And my history with this account, because sometimes he'll say things and I'm like, dude, you're way off the money. And I'll start off disagreeing with him, then sometimes agree. So I don't really know what I'm walking into here. So we're going to see how to never bore a girl. Here we go. How to never bore. When you approach her, do not get into interview mode where you just ask questions. You don't want to bore her and make her lose the little interest she has when you approach her. Yeah. That you gotta be funny. Maybe a little self-deprecating. Maybe poke fun at her or something like that. Going into 60 minutes with whoever you are, but also all this stuff is all just practice. Because after being in a relationship for 10 years and getting back into the dating world, there were some definite lumps. And I was a person that like didn't really have issues getting women, but like after you're out the game for 10 years, you don't do something for 10 years, you lose the skill. And if you're single and you're like, how do I go out there and put myself out there? You literally just go put yourself out there. Start by waving at women. Start by complimenting something, not their body. You can compliment their hair or like a dress if they're wearing it, but don't make it too sexual. Make it like fun, like you're kind of like the semi-gay friend. Be like, hey girls, the colors on that dress are popping. Like make it fun, make it lighthearted. Don't like stare down the barrel of her eyes and be like, that's a nice skirt you have there. Read the room. Don't go into interview mode. Be fun. Be someone she's like, be someone that she wants to go, oh, wow, I want to go have a coffee with that guy. I want to go sit on his lap or whatever women think when someone's hit on them. The next piece, to not bore her. You don't just directly get to her and say, hey, I'm blank, what's your name? Ooh, whoa. I usually just go with that, but In this case, she's going to be like, why would I care for your name or blank or ABC? All right. And why should I tell you who I am? I disagree with that. You can go up and go, just be honest. I would say approaching a woman, being vulnerable. Hey, listen, I know this is weird. I'm nervous myself. My name is Freddie. What's your name? I would love to take you out. That's it. Not everybody's going to say yes, but some people will. And when they do, you're going to completely forget about all the people that say no. If you're listening to this and you're like, I got to put myself out there, this is your sign from the universe to put yourself out there. If anything, this guest takeover was only for the sole purpose to get you back out there and into the streets to help you with that heartbreak. If I did it, you can. All right? I know you can. Moving on to the next, how not to bore her. He says, be the guy. Be the guy who approaches women for his own fun. Be the guy who doesn't care if she'll give her number or not. Be the guy who is humorous, knows well about his surroundings and notices, right? Reads the room. If you can get to the place mentally where you don't care if you get her number or not, you're in a good spot. And the way I would frame that in your head is instead of being like, I'm going to go out and get a girlfriend, or I'm going to go out and I'm going to get a girl's number. Don't think about it like that. Instead, be like, I'm going to get rejected by 5 women. Oh, but get rejected by 5 women, but you're trying to get her number, but your goal is to get rejected, which means you just got to approach and, be a halfway decent human being. Fellas, the bar is so low for men right now. Men are having a rebuilding year these past couple of years, which is good. It happens, right? Women had their come up. That was necessary. I feel like there's going to be another swing coming along because like we do, we adapt, we overcome. But I do think, you want to go in there thinking, I'm trying to get rejected by 5 women today. That's a good mindset to be in because you don't want to let the inevitable failure, quote unquote, and it's not really failure, get to you to where you just go back to your home and now you're a recluse, right? You've got to put yourself out there. And what kind of energy are you giving off, huh? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you sleeping? Are you washing your ass, huh? Do I get some kind of physical activity, right? Maybe do you walk at least for an hour a day? Like what kind of energy are you putting out there? Be cognizant of that. Doesn't care, approaches women for fun, humorous, yeah. Moving on to the next one. You approach a girl. Oh. Okay. Be calm and confident while approaching women. This is hard. It is. This one's too. Man. One time I tried to approach a woman in the cold, and it is not cool to be talking when it's like 15 degrees out. And you're like, hey, what's going on? It is not. It is not. It's not a good feeling. It doesn't make you feel powerful. It's not loose. It's literally you're just like tight and bunched up. And the lady's like, okay, someone's got to really see through to see the good person you are to overcome that. But yes, be calm and confident while approaching women. How? What the guy says. Keep in mind that there's lots of them. There are. That's just a funny way to word it. Not every woman will like you. Very true. If she doesn't show interest in you, she's going to miss the fun she'll get along with you. Yeah, sometimes. Are you a fun person? If you're a fun person, that's the case. Relax your anxiety by saying it's just practice. Yeah. You know what they say in sales? A no is just one step closer to a yes. A no is just one step closer to a yes. So I'll remember that. Be respectful, but be adventurous. Be yourself. And if yourself isn't working, change yourself a little bit. Just change yourself just a tad bit. We're all in the process of changing ourselves, right? We're all evolving. We're all growing. Just do that in a way where a woman might want to, spend a couple hours with you. Baby steps, right? Act in a way that a woman want to give you her number, right? Then if you can't get past the number point, like past the first date, then act in a manner that gets you the second date. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm just getting you started on your journey. So maybe you have a friend that's a guy friend that's down in the dumps. Send him this, or have him subscribe to my podcast, Fred Talk, FredTalk, one word, It's a relationship podcast. Today I gave you a medley of what the podcast entails. I usually cover some headlines, some relationship advice, also go through some stories and whatnot, and just, keeping you guys interested. So, sadly, our time together has come to an end. I'm reading off the script again, guys. By the way, I love this. Shout out to Dr. Andre Jerry for being very polished. I'm a mess, fly by the seat of my pants, so I'm loving this. This script reading is fun. So sadly, our time has come together and come to an end. But before we go, I want to extend my gratitude to Dr. Andre Jerry for the opportunity to guest host this incredible radio show. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in and being an active part of today's engaging discussion. Remember to catch Live with Dr. Andre Jerry every fourth Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the Artist First Radio Network. For more thought-provoking conversations and world-renowned experts and influencers. Until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and keep making a difference. This is Freddy Valoy signing off. Thank you, and have a great evening.